Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike. And yesterday was Bash in Berlin, which saw Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest take on the team of Liv Morgan and Dirty Dominik Mysterio. And that was a fun match. It had a had everything, right? We had the Judgment Day interference that we all expected, and we had a nice little callback when Rhea was able to kind of wrap her legs around Dom and like choke him and throw back to when she did that before he joined the Judgment Day. It was a fun match and it was entertaining and it made me think WWE should bring back the Mixed Match Challenge. And so, for those who may not know, the Mixed Match Challenge really was the precursor to what we have now with WWE Speed. The Mixed Match Challenge was a social media show. It was strictly on Facebook at a certain time. Just like now, we have WWE Speed on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So it was really the precursor to what we have now. And WWE tested the waters to see if people would tune into a show on social media. And we got 2 seasons out of it, and it was fun. You had unique pairings, unique tag teams, and like yesterday in Berlin, it reminded me just how fun these matches can be, and that there really is an opening for WWE to do something like this once again, even if it is just like a thing that is happens on live events or something like that. We it doesn't need to be like something that involves, maybe on Raw or SmackDown, but maybe it's just a live event thing, or perhaps again it's just a social media thing that you just post on Facebook, or maybe you can post it on X. That gives you 2 shows on X. And so I think today what I want to do is fantasy book what a mixed match challenge tournament concept would be in 2024, 2025, and I think they should bring it back next year. And these are the teams that I would put together. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go all out fantasy booking. Oh, AJ Lee's going to come back. Oh, Becky Lynch is re signed, so we're going to get Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch against CM Punk and AJ Lee, which would be an amazing freaking match if we can ever get that. If Becky Lynch does re sign to WWE, if AJ Lee does come back for maybe one more run, we have the Seth and Punk feud. That would be an incredible match to have. Plus, Becky Lynch and AJ Lee as a match on their own would be quite incredible. But I am just using the current roster that we have available on Raw and SmackDown, because the way this tournament was set up is that you had 6 teams from Raw, 6 teams from SmackDown. Before we get into the tag teams and who I booked in this little concept of a tournament, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you believe in what I do here at Ringside Cinema, as I produce weekly wrestling content here on this channel. And hey, Ringside Cinema Live returns this Saturday for AEW All Out, as I will be live streaming AEW All Out. It is the fallout from AEW All In. which I was there, and I will have that video finally talking about my experience at All In and whatnot. So all that's coming to the channel this week, but let's get into the mixed match challenge. So just like the original tournament, I have 6 teams from Raw, 6 teams from SmackDown, and yeah, a lot of it is storyline based. But, well, at least on the Raw side, because SmackDown, I really couldn't really figure out the teams, but I just try to pair them up based on, connections, or if they've been on screen or whatever. So Raw is kind of top heavy with their teams being storyline based due to the fact that Raw right now it is the best show I think of the two between Raw and SmackDown because of the storylines and how heavy they are from a storyline standpoint. So a lot of these teams on the Raw side are based around what's going on from a story perspective. But comment below, what teams would you like to see in a new mixed match challenge? First off, obviously, you have Liv Morgan, Dirty Dominik Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest. Now, obviously, a lot of people are going to say, well, obviously, one of them is going to win. But from a realistic standpoint, you could have the other cost one team cost the other, so that you can cancel out, so it's not obvious that one of those two teams would be the winner. Then, of course, you have Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Now, WWE has really not been interested in Scarlett being an active wrestler, which is a shame because she can wrestle, and I think she would add so much to the women's division on Raw. Obviously Liv Morgan is a heel, but I wouldn't mind if she was kind of thrown into the women's world title picture. Maybe if these mid-card women titles that are rumored to be happening, maybe you can give Scarlett that title. Or put her in the title picture for one of those. So, I think you could put Karrion Kross and Scarlett in there. Be a fun way to show off Scarlett's wrestling abilities, and also kind of get some mileage out of the pairing between the two. We've seen that they've been in NXT, from NXT to WWE, now with the Final Testament. So let's get some mileage out of it, Next up, you have the Alpha Academy, Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree. I think that would be a good pairing, which obviously leads me to, the current storyline rivals of Chad Gable and Ivy Nile. I think, again, because of how heavy WWE is on storylines, I feel like Triple H, if he was putting this together today, would be putting this together based more on the storylines and what's going on. So that's why, again, Raw is so top heavy with people who are feuding against one another. And last but not least, because Chad Gable is in here, so is Bo Dallas and Nikki Cross. That would round out your Raw tag teams. And again, you have the pairings based on storylines, while SmackDown, meanwhile, is kind of more a bit random, but I also try to make them make sense. So obviously, Montez Ford, Bianca Belair, obviously, would be the first team on SmackDown. Then I wanted to do a fun little pairing where it's family, the bloodline. We know that Nia Jax has some relation. She is a part of this whole family with The Rock. And so, why not her and Solo Sikoa in this whole storyline in this mixed match challenge. Put them together. I want to see Nia Jax be a part of the new bloodline. I think that would be good because the original OG bloodline did not have a female member when fans were like, hey, put Naomi in the bloodline. But WWE never did. Which leads me to my next pairing because WWE finally has mentioned Jimmy Uso once again. So, Jimmy Uso and Naomi. I think again you intertwine the stories of what's going on, and obviously Jimmy will be back at some point. He's going to be feuding with Solo, teaming Roman, blah blah blah. The OG bloodline. So this would be a good way to kind of continue that and intertwine this mixed match challenge into the ongoing storylines. And then there's Tiffany Stratton, Miss Money in the Bank, and Elton Prince of Pretty Deadly. Now, this one I kind of put together because they were in that segment on SmackDown during Nia Jax Celebration, so I thought that would be kind of a fun pairing. And of course, Bayley and LA Knight. Yeah, I put those two together because, Bayley, everyone loves Bayley. And LA Knight, I think that would be a good little fun pairing. I don't know. I wanted LA Knight and Bayley in this tournament, so I just put them together. And last but not least, to round out this fantasy booking, Chelsea Green and Grayson Waller. I think that would be a fun pairing. Just like Bayley and LA Knight, I think you could get a lot of mileage out of a Chelsea Green and Grayson Waller pairing. Plus, it can go into the whole storyline with Austin Theory eventually turning on him, where he's going to be like, "Hey, why were you chosen to be in this, not me?" But yeah, I think that the match last night at Bash in Berlin was fun, and it made me realize how fun mixed matches can be. So, there would be my mixed match challenge in 2024. I think it would be a fun concept to bring back. And as always, you've been watching Ringside Cinema. I've been Money Mike. And now I'm going to get ready for NXT No Mercy. Ringside Cinema, living out the dream. Lights down, time to go. Cheers for heroes we know. Ringside.